In 2019, the world of Azeroth was reborn as World of Warcraft Classic rekindled the passion of millions, inviting adventurers to relive their journey in Elwyn Forest and Durotar and Stranglethorn Vale. Quickly, WoW Classic re-established itself as a titan in the MMO genre, its popularity at times rivaling that of the modern retail version. Following this resurgence, Blizzard reignited the flames of nostalgia with the Burning Crusade in June 2021. Players encountered iconic adversaries like Illidan and Kil'jaeden, and the momentum only continued with the release of Wrath of the Lich King in late September 2022, concluding what many believed would be the final chapter in the classic saga. But the story didn't stop there like so many expected. In November 2023, Blizzard surprised the community by announcing Cataclysm Classic. Initially met with mixed feelings, the recent launch of the closed beta has sparked unprecedented excitement. Players are eager to revisit Azeroth shaped by Deathwing's cataclysmic return. This upheaval brings a fresh perspective on a familiar world, significantly altering landscapes, quests, cityscapes, presenting a version of the game unlike any before. Today we dive into the heart of Cataclysm Classic, exploring the fervor surrounding its beta release, speculating on the anticipated launch date and gauging community reactions to these groundbreaking changes. Join me as we unravel the mysteries of Cataclysm Classic, from the rise of Deathwing to the evolving expectations of the WoW Classic community. So let's talk about what we can expect from Cataclysm with the new closed beta announcement. Remember that a closed beta announcement is significant because it indicates the game's in a very advanced stage and nearly ready to be released to the public. First, we can safely expect a massive impact on the game world itself. Everything in Azeroth has been streamlined and revamped, including new starter zones for gnomes and trolls. That's particularly important because there are all sorts of new race and class combos, as well as 2 new powerful races in the Goblin and the Worgen that'll have to level all the way up in the open world. For higher level players, the level cap's been raised to 85, and there are 6 new open world zones like Uldum and Mount Hyjal. And of course, new dungeons and raids to fit into these new zones. Perhaps the most exciting new change is their new systems. There's the new rated battleground feature for competitive PvP, and there's also the new transmog feature that lets you take the visuals of other gear while keeping the stats of your current BIS gear. The closed beta just opened up this week, and players are already busy testing the various available features. While I earlier mentioned that a closed beta would suggest Blizzard's very close to a Cataclysm release, there are a number of clues that suggest the game is further away than we expect. Currently, many features such as leveling past 80, the transmog system, Goblin and Worgen races, even archaeology are still unavailable. That suggests Blizzard is still hard at work at these features behind the scenes, though this also could be a tactical decision to maintain hype. Previous closed betas have usually been different to the final product. As for the timeline, for the past several classic launches, the betas come a mere few months before the launch of the live game. The TBC beta came late March 2021, while the live TBC Classic launched June 2021. And the Wrath of the Lich King beta came in late June 2022, while the live launch came in September 2022. Following these timelines, a release between June and July 2024 would make a lot of sense. We also need to talk about the disclaimer on the closed beta post, which perhaps gives us the biggest clue. Blizzard writes that the game will be available on or before August 31st, 2024. With that information, we can speculate that a possible release in even late August is plausible. Cataclysm Classic in August might sound odd to newcomers, but past releases like Classic and Legion and BFA all featured August releases. Considering the success of WoW Classic, the real reason that the date is seemingly up in the air, however, is that Blizzard has to plan around the War Within release. That much hyped up new retail expansion is also due in late 2024. Analyzing public timelines that Blizzard released, Cataclysm is implied to be released earlier than War Within, sometime around Season 4 of Dragonflight and after Phase 3 of Season of Discovery. This lines up best with a June release. That's because Season of Discovery Phase 3 is unlikely to release much later than April or May. Then the War Within would release some months later in the fall, giving both expansions much more breathing room. Another reason we'll likely see an earlier release is that the current Wrath player base has been running ICC non-stop for half a year now. Giving that player base more to do so they don't quit the game is starting to be a major concern. Ultimately, Ruby Sanctum wasn't nearly enough to tide players over. One last clue leading to a June release would be that Final Fantasy has a new expansion, Dawn Trail. That expansion is launching in summer 2024. It's hard to directly prove that Blizzard times releases around other MMOs, but they do seem to like to ensure that their player base has plenty to do when competing rivals come out with new expansions. I remember too well the agonizing decision between playing New World in September 2021 or progression rating Phase 2 of TBC Classic. What do you guys think about my theory? Does Blizzard intentionally put out releases to compete with other MMOs? Especially the new and up-and-coming ones. So let's talk about the reactions to the beta announcement and expectations. So reactions to the beta announcement have been mixed to say the least. There have been some positive comments like this one from Grandfar. He's excited for the 10-man rating meta and the loot systems. Personally, I'm very excited for the 10-mans as well and getting the same loot. The 25s are becoming pretty hard to fill, especially towards the end of Wrath Classic. One XE says that Cata has a bad rap and that his favorite classes were extremely fun to play. One of my alts is going to be a Fire Mage in Cataclysm, and I know that's going to be an absolute blast. What main do you guys plan to have in Cataclysm? I'd love to hear what you're playing. There have also been some negative comments too, of course. Morning Sage says he can't wait to see how low the player numbers will be. And Matt says to wake him up when they announce Mop Classic. There definitely feel like more than a few naysayers this time around. It'll be fascinating to see player counts for this expansion versus Wrath. It's also fascinating to think about how many players want to skip Cata and go straight to Mists of Pandaria. It's definitely the more beloved expansion looking back, and I'd love to play it for the first time. One prevailing comment type that I kept seeing were posts on dungeon difficulty. Here's one from Major Beefy. Can't wait to see the people that didn't do Cata heroics experience the pain. This brings us to an interesting point, which is that Blizzard has promised to give us a much more streamlined Cata. Almost a Cata Plus. It's plausible we may even get a Season of Discovery level amount of communication with devs, where they're communicating as they tweak various aspects of the game, such as the legendarily difficult dungeons. Though that also might mean we get some very controversial class balancing. I hope you guys love Enhanced Shamans. In conclusion, we definitely have some huge Cata news. There's more and more coming out every single day. The biggest news being that the beta is live, which means the expansion is likely only a few short months away. Personally, I would love to see a June release and for Blizzard to give the expansion as much breathing room as possible away from the war within. I also really don't want Blizzard to kill Season of Discovery during the Cata launch. If they launch Cata at the wrong time, they could easily kill Season of Discovery for good. I think that would be a real shame because the endgame of Season of Discovery might just be the very best part. I'm curious what you guys are thinking about the new Cataclysm news. I would love to hear your thoughts and expectations, insider info, anything you've got on Cata and the release date in the comments. And after that, definitely get hyped for the upcoming profession guides I'm making for Cata Classic. These are going to be must-watch videos to maximize your professions in Cata. And I'd also love if you subscribe so you can stay tuned for weekly updates leading up to Cataclysm. Thanks so much for watching, and in the meantime, check out my Ultimate Phase 2 DPS tier list to figure out exactly what alt you need to roll in the meantime.